The Warzone Sports Network presents the Fantasy Football Speakeasy. Stay tuned and never miss out.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome in. Happy Saturday. I'm your host, Tony Tucker of the Fantasy Speakeasy. All you got to do is knock twice, come in here and get some of this sweet bootleg fantasy action we're talking. We are a week away. A week from today, we will all be resting our heads on our pillows with sweet dreams of touchdowns and juke moves and sleepers coming to fruition in week one, and we will crown ourselves geniuses after week one. I am joined by Joe Morley, host of wonderful shows like Friday Night Wars, sits in on several podcasts with me, just an all-around do it kind of guy. And that man giving you a little striptease at the bottom, that is Fantasy Football Wish List on IG. Make sure you get over there. The man's taking over TikTok too. Really funny information on TikTok, Fantasy Football Wish List. So let me start with just a little bit of nonsense. I feel like that's something that I do and do it well. I picked up Quez Watkins, right? Because I read a report that he might be the slot receiver, win that slot job for Philadelphia. And I'm thinking about naming my team Pop Quez, right? Is it a stupid thing to pick up the last man on your roster who probably won't even make it after the first week on my team and then name your fantasy team after? What do you guys think about this? Is this stupid?
No, because
you might cut him in an hour. Go on. Go, Joey.
No, I'm just saying you could change your name later. Like, am I the only one that change? I changed my name multiple times throughout the season, so it depends on the opponent that I'm playing that week. I might change it to something personal. So I think you're good. If you like it, do it.
I think I'm going to do it. Yes. Pop Quez for Quez Watkins. I'm obsessed with that one that he just took to the house. And I feel like there could be a lot of garbage time. And I was like, this one, he's going to be a sneaky play. So some love for Quez Watkins. All right. So here's the parameter.
If you guys are watching, because there are a lot of people watching right now, tell us your team name in the comment section right now. Because I know everybody comes up with some great team names, and I want to see them. We're a week away, like you said. Everybody's proud about it. You haven't got your name down. I haven't came up with my name for my draft in the next couple hours, which I'm going to be doing. So I want to see some team names. Put them out there. We'll put them on the screen, and we'll find out which one's the best one.
Definitely. In the King of Lions League that I'm in with Scotty, I'm teabagged because I'm teabagging everybody. Tony Tucker, double T right there. Yes, if you are new here, please consider subscribing, following, all that fun stuff on whatever platform you're in. But let's get into the goodness right now, because there's something I wanted to do. Like, I was looking at, like, what's my ideal draft? So here's the circumstances, and please comment with your team on these parameters. Pick the number one quarterback that you think will finish number one in fantasy. For your RB1, pick who you think is the number one running back who's going to finish in fantasy points. For your RB2, you have to pick somebody outside the top 15 that you think could finish as a top 10. That goes for wide receiver 2, right? So like your wide receiver 1, who you think will finish number 1. Your wide receiver 2, somebody outside the top 15 who will finish inside the top 10. The number one scoring fantasy tight end. And then a flex, somebody who is going outside the top 25, but you think could finish as a top 20 player. And this is sort of like these are realistic teams that you could potentially have. It's sort of like a dream team in a way, like your dream perfect draft scenario. Joe, should I start with mine, or does somebody else want to start?
You want to hit the team name real quick? Somebody put one in the comments.
Oh, yes. Let's hear it.
It's Carry On My Hayward Son.
Oh, I
like
love it.
I love it. If I was a singer, I would do it for you, but I'm not a singer. Maybe you could hit it, Tony.
Put
you on the spot right there. Nope.
You could. I'm trying to think of how the song goes. Isn't it like "Carry On, oh Hayward Son," like that?
Something like that.
Pretty close.
Yes, you got it, bro.
I hit that. My falsetto's a little weak in the morning, guys. I'll work on it. Like later in the day.
10 viewers right there.
You talk about these numbers are flying through the roof this morning. Who do we want to start with? We should have pre-show.
Go, Tony.
Because You made the parameters. We'll start with your team.
Let's do it. Throw my screen up on the board. All right. So here is my perfect draft scenario. I believe that Lamar Jackson is going to return back to his MVP form. I think he's the #1 scoring quarterback in fantasy this year. And I really boosted up that after the J.K. Dobbins injury. Like, I know they brought in some other retread or whatever to kind of fill that void, but Gus Edwards is up there.
Gus the Bus.
And so then I had to pick who I think is going to be #1 in fantasy scoring. It's Delvin Cook. I think he's going to have a great year. I said last week on the show, I think Chuba Hubbard is good enough that they're going to let this kid play a little bit more football. I think he's better than Alexander Madison. You know where I was going with that. The guy that I was doing the play. They don't need it. Yeah. Everybody's done the Hamilton.
His name is Alexander Madison. Yeah, I got you.
Okay. The RB2 that is being drafted, he's being drafted 16th, is David Montgomery. But I really believe that once we see Justin Fields in there and we get some RPOs, we could see a guy that is pushing for top 10 in fantasy this year. DK Metcalf. You guys want to know how much I love DK Metcalf? I have him in 5 of 6 leagues already. Like the only one I didn't get him in was Dynasty, and that's because I went 2 RBs in the first 2 rounds, and he was gone by the time he came back. Wow. And then Cooper Kupp is being drafted, I think, like 24th, and I think he could be a top 10 wide receiver now that he has Matthew, the man, Stafford. He's probably got a better nickname than that, I'm sure. And Darren Waller, I've already told you guys I'm in love with him. I think he's the #1 tight end in fantasy. And then my boy T. Higgins, who's the best receiver on the Bengals. Not even once Jamar Chase gets up to speed, he'll be better. No. T. Higgins is the best receiver on the Bengals. So if this could be my team that I came away with in the draft, and you could technically get these guys, right? Lamar Jackson's going in the 5th round. If Delvin Cook is your first pick, you come back around, you get a DK Metcalf, then maybe you go Montgomery, Cooper Kupp, or you probably have to get Waller in the 3rd, hope that Montgomery's there in the 4th, Kupp in the 5th, Higgins in the 6th. Like this team is logical. What do you guys think of this team? Let's get my team off the screen. They've seen it enough, and let's see, what do you guys think about that ideal squad?
DK Metcalf, I've been humping his leg for the past year. I love DK Metcalf. The guy is an absolute beast. He's unstoppable. He's fast. He's strong. You know my feeling on DK Metcalf. Lamar Jackson, last year I predicted Kyler Murray would outperform Lamar Jackson. But this year I think Lamar Jackson goes right back at it. I love that pick. Can't go wrong with Dalvin Cook. You got some nice picks there, broski. Darren Waller's and I mean, I don't want to give anything away, but that's an awesome pick as well. But great job, Tony. I like it.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, I put some thought into this. Go ahead, Joe.
You did a good job. Like this team, I'm trying to think of how you would draft this team. I guess you're going to have to go Cook first, right? First round. 2nd round, you're going to have to take DK, and then hopefully Lamar falls to you 3rd round. Is this how you would get this draft scenario right here?
I think Waller, you have to hope is in the 3rd round, and then Lamar is going in the 4th and 5th rounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would probably have to be like one of those. You'd have to be a top pick, like a #1, #2, right?
Yeah. You got to be 2 to get Cook, and then you could come back around. Because I got DK in the same spot. I have DK and Cook in our King of Lions League. Oh, right? Man. Like I have both of those players from the 2 spot, and then I came back around my 3rd. I got AJ Brown, but I could have gotten Darren Waller. Yeah. So what I'm saying is the team is definitely you could end up with this squad. Yeah. It's just not likely because the more you play with people like Scotty or like in some of the leagues we're in, you're not going to end up with Cook, Metcalf, Waller, Jackson, like you're not in Montgomery. You're not going to end up with all these guys on one team. But in my perfect dream scenario, like this would be the team that I was like trotting out there.
If you're playing 6-man fantasy league, you might.
Yeah.
You play 6-man. You put 8, no 10. I could see this team in a 10-man league right here. I can see this. It's there. Like, yeah. The only one that you would need is like people that aren't high on quarterbacks, and Lamar Jackson falls, and I can see this team. Yeah, I like this team, and I'm not sold on T. Higgins like you are. I'll just say that you're really sold on T. Higgins, and you love the Bengals wide receiver.
I'm also afraid of teams with 3 good wide receivers. You can't stash fantasy points with 3 wide receivers. It's like the Steelers. I love their players, but each week you're taking a guess who's going to go off that week. I mean, people are forgetting about Tyler Boyd. He's a great receiver too. I mean, he's with Higgins and Chase. There's a lot of balls to go around, including with Joe Mixon. But Higgins definitely has the upside. It's just I hate that question every week. Like, do I start this guy? Who do I start? That's the only question I would have as well, Joey.
Yeah, I don't have any of those concerns for it because I think there's so much garbage time to go around, and he's just the best on the team. Like, to me, like, Burrow's going to look for him. That's just how I feel. Obviously, I have no proof of that. That's what I love about fantasy. Like, sometimes you could just say, I don't really have any proof other than this guy's super talented, and I recommend people to draft him. Let's go ahead, Joe.
I just said great team, but I'm not sold on Montgomery this year.
Oh, come on. That's because you're too young. You never went to Montgomery Woods. You got to go to Montgomery.
He might not be sold on Montgomery, but Tony is.
Yes.
And I think the next guy is.
Yes.
Here we go. So my prediction with the number 1 quarterback, I'm not messing around there. I'm going with Patrick Mahomes. He's generational talent. He's basically like a Peyton Manning. We could talk about the hype of Herbert, Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes is going to throw you close to 5,000 yards. He's going to hit over 30 touchdowns, definitely, hoping without an injury. We're speaking best case scenario, right? So in our King of Lions League that we're doing an Instagram, Mahomes actually went in the 4th. So we're going to move over. I'll get back to that. But we're going to go to Zeke Elliott. Let's say you get a mid-round pick. The Dalvin Cook, the Christian McCaffrey goes around. Zeke lands to me. Zeke, I think with the Dak Prescott healthy, in 2018, he had 1,400 rushing yards. 2019, 1,400 rushing yards. When Dak was healthy, he was averaging 18 fantasy points a game. Zeke, honestly, there's no joke. He could end up the running back 1 at the end of the season. I mean, if with a healthy Dak, I don't know why you would have to question that. David Montgomery, the guy, he gets 1,000 yards, 50 catches, and no love. I'm not afraid of Tariq Cohen. He's coming off an injury. He's still not healthy. Montgomery's the guy in the backfield. If Dalton is quarterbacking, he's horrible, so he's going to have to dump balls off to Montgomery because he won't be able to reach anybody else. Stephon Diggs, I think, is the number 1 wide receiver. I mean, Devontae Adams with Rodgers is an argument, but Stephon Diggs, I'm an athlete, so, I mean, I'm definitely far from a professional. But Stephon Diggs, when he was watching the other team celebrate in the playoffs and just seeing him stay on the field, there's a chip on his shoulder. He has Josh Allen, stud quarterback, his favorite target. He's a great route runner. He's going to get tons of targets, ton of catches, and opportunities. My wide receiver outside the top 15, Michael Thomas is gone. Jameis Winston sucks, but, I mean, he throws the ball 50 times. If he throws an interception, Marquise Callaway doesn't lose points. He's going to get over 10 targets a game with Mike Thomas off the field, and if he makes a name for himself, you just hit the jackpot there. At tight end, I agree with Tony. I think he's going to take Kelsey for the top spot this year. Kelsey hit the age where Gronk fell off, Jimmy Graham fell off, Antonio Gates fell off. All the big name tight ends dropped in the 32 age season. And I think that's where Kelsey is now. That's when Darren Waller, the last 2 seasons, he had over 1,000 yards, 90 catches, and he's a tight end 1. And for my flex to end things off, Trey Sermon, I think, could end up as a top 10 running back. He's in the Kyle Shanahan offense. I love it. Mostert's already hurt. He's the best running back on the team, and Shanahan just stars running backs in fantasy. So that's my list, and I was going Zeke Elliott with the first pick, then coming back around getting Diggs, Waller, and if everybody is gung-ho like they did at the King of Lions League, Patrick Mahomes lasting to the 4th round. Probably won't happen in most drafts, but we're talking about best case scenario. Probably won't look like my team, but best case scenario, Mahomes hits. And that's why I went with late picks with Callaway and Sermon to make it seem somewhat fair.
I really like the Callaway shout out because to me that was like, I don't have a problem with it. I just thought it was really bold. And the more I looked at it, I was like, you know what? I probably should at least have a single share. So I have 2 drafts left as to where he's somebody that's definitely on my radar because we don't know what's going on with Mike Thomas. Mike Thomas could just be like, you know what? F the Saints and I'm gonna have another injury or I don't want to come back to this. And like, we don't know what's going on with the quarterback position. Like, is Jameis Winston going to get pulled out inside the 20 in favor of some Wildcat with Taysom Hill or put out at wide receiver? We don't know what's going on, but what we do know is that Marquez Callaway looked like a beast in the preseason. Yes. And Jameis can drop dimes out there. So I really like that as sort of an outside of the box pick.
Don't make me add to that. Gotcha. When Mike Thomas came back and Breeze wasn't the quarterback, he wasn't that top wide receiver everybody was hoping for either.
Yeah, Breeze was done though. Like was.
I like your team, but I've been saying it all off.
No, I guess, but that's my point. Go for it.
I've been saying it all off season. Fade the Saints. Fade Saints players. No matter who it is, fade them. Get them on out of here, Tony.
Oh my goodness! Thousands of
their cars are floating away at the moment.
I just lost the top spot because of that tag. They just put Tony right in the top here. I lost it, but I'm fading all Saints. I like it, and I understand the Callaway love, and I know what Jameson can do because we saw it. He can throw for a lot of yards. He's gonna have to go to somebody. I just think it's so simple for a defense to stop that offense now. So I'm not like it, but I like how both of you guys love David Montgomery, and you're giving him a little bit of love. And I've said it before, David Montgomery was the most traded fantasy football player last year. So everybody in the fantasy community loves David Montgomery. And you know the potential he has to do whatever he needs to. And hopefully Chicago can finally fix it out for him. But Trey Sermon, I think you knocked it out of the park with Trey Sermon. That's the guy. San Francisco and Kyle Shanahan, he's learned it from his dad. He's learned it throughout his system. You could throw any running back in there. And that's what kind of scares me. Is that any running back any week can go in that San Francisco offense, but I think he fits so perfectly into that offense, and we're going to see a lot of points from him. So I love your team. It's a good team except for Callaway. Get him out of here.
Thanks, Joey Walnuts. I'll take him out.
I want to say one more thing. I want to say one more thing about Montgomery too, is you can get his handcuff really, really cheap because nobody's on Damian Williams. And Damian Williams, I think, is the guy that would be an every down back after him. They're not going to go to Tariq Cohen, who I believe is starting the season on the PUP list. So Damian Williams is a guy that you can cuff up Montgomery with, and you could still have an RB1. Fantasy Flojo in the building. Fantasy Flojo out there in Vegas right now. Getting some quality time with the wife, doing a draft for the fantasy football boot camp league. That is it's going to be fire. They're having a lot of fun over there.
Thank you.
I still like Kelsey, but Waller is the great pick at the ADP. I really like Montgomery and Sermon, and then I didn't comb my hair. This is just how I wake up.
He's always sexy, Flojo. He's always sexy. Oh, Monty's trash. Oh, Flojo. Now our relationship's going like this, Flo. Going like this, Flo.
Flo, and I like his. I value Fantasy Flojo's opinion, and I don't know. So many people have been burnt by Montgomery. Some people put him in that list, and fantasy football players do that. We do that with certain players where they burn you in the past. You're like, I'm done with them forever. And that's like me and Joe Mixon have that relationship right now. I will never touch him. So I'm sure people put Montgomery in that same spot. Off topic real quick, Eckler or Jones?
Eckler for me.
I go
Eckler. I also want to say this to our buddy Flojo. My love for Montgomery is based on Justin Fields taking over. It's not if, it's when he takes over. He's going to look a lot better with the running ability that Justin Fields has. Montgomery is going to see a lot more opportunities to crush. So I love Montgomery in that aspect. more than that. He's trash. He's out there. He's feeling himself. He's probably at an oxygen bar right now, just huffing all this beautiful air.
First 11 weeks, trashy.
Goodness gracious.
Flo, I don't know. Okay, Flojo and Hidden, and I think that's J Fly is Hidden Puzzle. Okay, here's the deal, guys. I don't know if you guys were here earlier in the show. Tell us your team, and this is how you got to build the team, right? Number one overall quarterback that you think will be number one in fantasy football this year. Your first running back has to be the top running back that you think is going to finish number one. Your running back 2 has to be a running back that's ADP outside of the top 15 and will finish inside the top 15. Then your number 1 wide receiver finish number 1 wide receiver. Same thing with number 2 wide receiver will be the top 15 outside the top 15 right now. We'll finish top 15. Your number 1 tight end, and then a flex guy that's outside of, what do you say, Tony? Outside
the top 25 that'll finish inside the top 20. So
let us know your team. We've already showed you guys Tony's. Here's Tony's one more time. And Tony and
come at me, Flojo. What's up with this roster, huh?
Hey, Flojo, if outside the top 15, you're not going to pick a guy better than David Montgomery, bruh. I want to see what Joe has. I think we're going to butt. I'm going to butt heads. Oh, one side. I'm going to butt heads with him, man.
Wishlist went a little bit away from it. He with that Callaway pick, he didn't go safe. He went. I like it. Tony went too safe. I think Tony went a little bit safe on his picks.
You're right. I did. I definitely, except for Cooper Kupp being drafted 24th at wide receiver. There's other guys I could have gotten closer to the 15.
Cooper Kupp's a beast. And then
I love DK Metcalf.
I went outside the box, and that's what I'm here for, Tony. Let's see what
I love it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. What was that?
Tony's cartoon pick reminds me of what he looked like in a nursing home.
Just waiting to be fed oatmeal.
So here we go. Here's my team. Aaron Rodgers. Aaron is the number 1 quarterback, in my opinion. I just think he's out for a mission this year. Nick Chubb, I understand the Kareem Hunt love. I think Nick Chubb is going to put on a show, and they're going to run through everybody. Damian Harris with the Mac Jones in New England. Hand the ball off, get it to him, and he's going to become a top guy. I can see him finishing and getting those goal line touchdowns and everything right there. Mike Evans, so underrated. Number 1 wide receiver. How many touchdowns did he have last year? 13 in the first year with Tom Brady? He's going to ball out. Let me take this off the screen so you guys can see my stuff. Mike Williams of the Chargers, giving him a little bit of love. I like what they're going to do down there. I like Justin Herbert. I can see him finishing pretty high if he can stay healthy. Of course, I'm going to take Travis Kelce. I love Darren Waller, but I'm going to take Travis Kelce. And then I go with my boy, the Raider Homer, who could finish in the top 15 and surprise a lot of people, Brian Edwards.
Okay.
I got to go, Tony.
Get in there.
I'm going to get in there. Joey, I got to give you credit. You did go outside the box, so we can't really rip you too much. So you take the chances. Those wide receivers are hit or miss. Mike Evans, we're talking about the 3 wide receiver thing. I mean, I'm happy as Mike Evans is my number 2. Antonio Brown is my number 2. Godwin is my number 2. As a number 1, it's tough. I had Mike Williams last year. I thought he was going to break out last year, but he pissed me off, so he'll never be on my team this year. But I got to ask you, Joe, for the inside scoop, bro. I have to. I have an awesome team in my league. Brian Edwards is a free agent. Tell me why he's worth picking up. Tell me why Brian Edwards is worth picking up.
Brian Edwards is your big target. Your big. Remember what Crabtree was with Derek Carr? That's what I'm picturing Brian Edwards as. He's going to be that guy who goes up, gets those jump balls, and Derek Carr is going to have a great season. And I'm going back and forth because one of these guys are going to break out, Ruggs or Edwards. Right. I'm more of an Edwards guy because I watched him more of a game film when he was in college than anything else. I mean, everybody saw what Ruggs did in college, but Edwards is the bigger target, the guy that Derek Carr will rely on towards the red zone. You already see it with the tight end with Darren Waller, what he can do with Darren Waller. Now you put another guy that can jump up and grab that ball. I'm going with it.
I like it.
I'm saying it's worth where we're getting him. What did I say? What's his ADP right here? 64th at his 64th wide receiver off the board. I'm just saying, you pull him in the late rounds, and he turns out to be a top 20, 25 guy. I'll take it.
Right. Yeah, he's being undrafted in drafts. Like he catches my eye, and he's one of those guys at the end. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll take him, and then it's like never taking him. But I'm like, I got to take the shot. He's a big target.
He earned the starting spot, so he's in there.
Joe, I want to thank you real quick for making an accurate comparison, because the first time we heard about Bryan Edwards in this preseason, they're like, then he could be the next T.O. John Gruden going crazy, right? Tony Romo talking about Zach Wilson and Pat Mahomes. Slow down, people. When you bring in Michael Crabtree, I'm like, hey, I could see that. What the blue hell? Alex Robson just dropping by to say hello.
Can't remember your name. Oh God, I can't remember. Scotty.
I like that comparison there. Joe, Mike Evans, I just don't see as finishing as a number one, but I like it. Like, I think he's undervalued for sure, but finishing number one with Godwin, Antonio Brown, 3 tight ends, 8 running backs, Tom Brady's strength coach, like theybody in that team is getting footballs this year. So number one, that is there's an IG live coming up between these two.
I'll talk later.
Duking it out over who finishes where. I'm in for that front row seat. Yeah, I'm very, very excited for fantasy football to start and see how all of this stuff shakes out.
I went outside the box. Like, Damian Harris is not somebody, but can you guys picture him being a top 15 running back in that offense now?
Absolutely.
Now with Mac Jones.
Yeah, absolutely. Healthy for sure. Scotty?
Yeah. Yes. Damian Harris. My thing, I fear Bill Belichick. I love Damian Harris. I hope he was like a Corey Dillon. I hope he becomes a Corey Dillon and they just hand him the ball. Bill Belichick's going to he's going to drive fantasy owners crazy because he just switches running backs all the time. Just give Damian Harris the ball. I like it, Joe. I like that pick. That's why I didn't touch it. Bill Belichick's going to ruin our lives.
Yeah, more than likely. I didn't want to be like your guys' graphic. Like, here's Tony's, and then I go to yours. Kind of looks the same, and then I was like, "Oh, change it up, change it up a little bit."
Listen. I love Damian Harris. I had him last year. I love him. I hope Bill Belichick stays with him. I think he's a great pick.
For me, it's health for Damian Harris. Like, I want to see him get 200 carries, and I think that he could be really good.
Did I go too far on Nick Chubb love? Probably. But this is like, say I'm drafting 9th, right? Or no, I can't draft 9th because Chubb probably won't go there, but probably like 6 or 7, right? I can get Chubb there, turn around, get Kelsey, turn around, get Mike Evans, turn around, get Aaron Rodgers, get Harris, and then I'm good. The other 2 I can get later in the round. So this, I think,
Joey,
is more.
I picked Mahomes in the 4th round, dude.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. It could. I mean, what do we have Mahomes going? He's number 1. He's I did it off of Fantasy Pro. If you guys look at the ADPs that I put on here, here's your team. The ADP that we put on here is according to Fantasy Pros, and that it's actually pretty cool because Fantasy Pros takes 6 different websites, including Sleeper and some other ones that are, and puts them all together to find their ADP. So that's where I went off of there. And guys, if you guys don't use the Sleeper app I think is the most accurate ADP out there. So now Mahomes going in the 5th. What did you say, 5th round?
Oh, no. I said because he went in the 4th round in our King of Lions league in the back because everybody went running back heavy, and then wide receivers went. But that was a dream case scenario. And when I did put Mahomes as the top finishing quarterback, but I'm also, if I could just add something in, I love Jalen Hurts this year. I mean, if we're going to make it more realistic, I'll switch Mahomes with Jalen Hurts. When he started 3 games last year, he had 280 passing yards and 60 rushing yards. If you do that in a fantasy game, let's say 200 passing yards, 60 rushing yards and a touchdown, that's 18 fantasy points. He's going to be right there with all the quarterbacks, and he's being drafted in the 9th round. So for all the listeners going, Mahomes never going, I agree with you. I agree with you. We're saying dream scenario. Yeah, realistic scenario, I'm fine with Jalen Hurts in the 8th, 9th round.
Yeah, I think that's sort of like where the leagues get won, right? Is that the people who pass up. I've been talking to a lot of people who are playing fantasy for the first time this year, and they just keep talking to me. They're like, yeah, how about your boy Justin Herbert? I got the 7th pick. You think he'll be there? And I'm like, of the first round? Yes, but don't take him there. Like, no. you can't take him at there because people don't understand the values until you dive in for a long enough time. And you realize that, yes, in real life, if you're starting a franchise, you would probably want to be grabbing Herbert somewhere in that first round of starting like a real NFL team. You'd want a good young quarterback who has a bright future ahead of him. You don't want that in fantasy. Quick. Yeah.
He says, let's be real. Crab was a top 10, 15 pick. Brian Edwards is not that. If you're Crabtree, yes. Crabtree was number 10 overall pick in the NFL draft. Second wide receiver taken in his draft behind who? Darius Hayward-Bay. Just to let you guys know, a little history right there. I know it. Anyways, Brian Edwards, and here's the hard thing about these top wide receivers, and this is why we saw people like Justin Jefferson break out. The last 2 NFL drafts have been so loaded with wide receivers. That's why you're seeing some of these late round guys break out in the NFL, or these guys who aren't the number 1, number 2 wide receivers becoming great receivers. With Brian Edwards in any other draft besides last year would have been a top, first round pick, early second round pick. But with all that talent that's in that draft, they get pushed back. We're going to see it this year with more wide receivers breaking out of this draft. So the days of going, oh, you're not a top wide receiver, you're not a top draft pick, are over because they're finding so many gems in these late rounds. But yeah, he says tape don't lie. But I got one team for you, Tony. Spider. Here you go. I don't know if you can see the screen.
Lamar, Zeke, Mixon, Diggs, Ayuk. I like that Ayuk one. That was where I was like, instead of Cup, I thought about going there, and you guys would have called me even more chalk. Waller, Antonio Brown, Spider. Yes. Scenario locked in. I love this team. Scotty?
So Mixon.
Yeah. I do like this team, but I want to mention something that might be different than everybody else's opinion. I'm not a big Ayuk fan this year. I think Ayuk got a lot of attention because Debo and Kittle were hurt. I think with Trey Lance, he's going to take over the quarterback job from Garoppolo. There'll be more running with him. Trey Lance more involved. But no, that team's loaded. I mean, don't get me wrong. If Ayuk's my number 2 with the rest of that team, I'll sign up right now. I'll sign the dotted line. Nice team.
I hear you on the Ayuk stuff. For me, it's about he's the one guy that I want to blow up and I want to be there and I want to have him on my team. But I do see your concern, right? Because it is a team that can run the ball so well. And then if Kittle's healthy and Debo's healthy, and then you have a quarterback who's going to be running the ball, then you're set. Like you might not need that to be throwing the ball. I mean, they went to the NFC Championship game or Super Bowl or whatever by only passing the ball 7 times in a Kyle Shanahan offense. That's scary when they can do that.
Yeah. And you're putting I'm thinking Debo's healthy and Kittle's healthy. That's a lot of targets to take away from Ayuk as well. And Debo's talented. Kittle's talented. And to answer Flojo down there, Jalen Hurts over Tannehill.
Jalen Hurts over Tannehill. Okay. All right.
I would. I'm very high on. I think Jalen Hurts is this year's Kyler Murray. I'm very high on Jalen Hurts this year. And I'm a Washington fan, so I don't want to. I'm high on Zeke Elliott. I'm high on Jalen Hurts. I'm not liking this at all. This is horrible. What am I doing here? I never know what I'm doing.
I don't. I can't remember who it is. It's either Jalen Hurts or it's Tua. But one of them is being compared to the last couple of guys like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, where they're being drafted and Josh Allen too, where they're being drafted late in the draft. I want to say it's Hurts, because you're high on Hurts right now. I want to say where he's being drafted. I want to say 8th round or something like that, and that's where the last couple guys like Mahomes and Allen and Lamar Jackson have gone, and now people are comparing it to. I could buy a little bit more Hurts. I could buy Hurts over Tua, but I'm still not 100% sold on Jalen Hurts as my number one quarterback in fantasy.
The reason I'm sold on him is he doesn't have a running back that runs downhill. They're all pass catching running backs. He's going to be running for his life against the Washington defense, and then Giants have an underrated defense. I think he's going to be forced to throw the ball, a lot of garbage time points. And if you're lowballing he was averaging 280 yards a game passing when he started. I'm going to lowball him to 200, like I said before. And 60 yards rushing and a touchdown, that's close to 20 points a game, fantasy-wise. So Jalen Hurts in the 8th round, you're going to give me 20 points? Jumping on it.
All right, you're selling me a little bit. You're selling me.
That's it, man. I'm sliding you a couple bucks under the table.
I think all those guys in that round have the potential to be league winners if you wait. Tom Brady's going late, Ryan Tannehill, and Jalen Hurts. They're all going in that 9th, 10th round of certain leagues.
Yeah,
and if you have a good quarterback.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go, Joey. Sorry, I'm cutting you off all day. Go up, Joe.
No, I'm saying Tony touched on it earlier. I love Justin Herbert, and he was a league winner for me last year. But where did I get him? I got him late. I got him off the waiver wire or whatever. I don't remember how I got him last year, but you're going to find these gems late in the draft that aren't going to be these top guys. Because how many people are you seeing right now that are loading up with Mahomes and the Chiefs, and then come championship time of fantasy football, they're out of it. These late guys are the sleepers that you want. And if I could hit on a Jalen Hurts and build my team, I'm liking where you're taking me. So, Scotty, you might have sold me right now, and I'm like 3 hours away, I'm about 4 hours away from my draft.
No, and Joey, to help you out too. I hate drafting quarterbacks. I never draft quarterbacks. But if I go Jalen Hurts and you go in a question, say you want Tannehill, Jalen Hurts in that era, you're taking the chance and you're like, fuck, if this doesn't work, what am I going to do? Ben Roethlisberger is being undrafted, and he's a boring pick. Yeah. He's old as hell. But the dude he just throws the football. He has Najee Harris now. And we're talking about those 3 good wide receivers he has. If Jalen Hurts doesn't work out, which I think he's going to work out, Ben Roethlisberger is being undrafted. Pick him as your backup. He's going to be putting up 300-yard games quietly, which is crazy because every year, Big Ben quietly every year just throws touchdowns and yards and puts up huge yards. That's what I'm talking about.
Not this guy, but this guy over here hates Big Ben and was like, didn't you just talk about Big Ben, Tony? About how old he was and how it's going to be a shit show in Pittsburgh?
Yes, I did. Shameless plug right now on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, all those places, podcasts. I talked about the uncomfortable conversation that Mike Tomlin is going to have this season with Ben Roethlisberger at some point, where he needs to sit him down and say, hey, we're going to take a look at Dwayne Haskins. There was another team that popped up in there.
Wait, wait a minute. You just said take a chance on Dwayne Haskins? Oh, God, Tony.
No, not for
Dwayne Haskins on this program.
Hang on. This is not for fantasy. I'm talking about real life football when the Steelers could be, 7-8, and they say, hey, Ben, we're not making the playoffs. We need to take a look. So I'm talking, this is fantasies out the window. I am starting Ben Roethlisberger in a league where I drafted Trey Lance in the 14th round. So I'm going to wait for Trey to start. I think that he has the potential to be this year's sort of sneaky QB, like we're talking about Jalen Hurts. My guy this year is Trey Lance. I have Trey in 3 leagues, and I'm starting a guy the guy that I think could be a sleeper. Joe, I need you to plug your ears, and I have a little bit of just taking a shot. Derek Carr. At some point, Derek Carr is going to have to. He's going to have to start winning games. He's going to have to start airing it out. I don't think the Raiders' defense is very good, even though Joe thinks they, KJ, right? They're signing all these players and they got all these veterans in there. I don't think the Raiders' defense is worth a darn, and I think that they're going to be putting up a lot of points. And if Ruggs can play, if Edwards can play, Waller, they got Smokey Brown, maybe they start airing the ball out a little bit
Smokey
more.
Brown, Tony.
Who did you guys get? Oh, you guys cut him already.
He didn't make the team.
Yeah. Okay. That's already
that's another thing. That's why I'm high on Edwards,
show.
and that's why I'm high on Ruggs, because they beat out a guy like John Brown. John Brown's not a great wide receiver, not an elite wide receiver, but he's a good, solid wide receiver that have been on a couple teams around the league, and he got beat out by this team, by these young wide receivers in Vegas. So that's why I'm a little higher on the Raiders wide receivers than some people are right now.
All I'm saying is that there are guys like Derek Carr, Ben. I'm fine starting them until Trey Lance takes over. And I have Derek Carr also in a 2-quarterback league, and I feel really strong about him putting up some points in that 2 spot.
And you can make some cool team names with Derek Carr.
True.
All right, fellas, what do you say we get out of here?
I got one team for you.
You got one team. What is it?
Right here. It's on the board. Mahomes. He put Barkley, Swift, Metcalf, OBJ, Waddle's his flex, and Kelsey's his tight end.
I
just take a shower after all that Raider talk, huh?
I do. I did say some nice things about the Raiders. I got to cut it out.
And next time we talk, Joe, time we talk, Joe, you got to paint your face gray.
Hey, I'll come on here all Raider.
Silver. Sorry, silver.
But yeah, Fantasy Flojo's throwing some dimes out here. I think he's coming after you. I think he's ready.
He is, man. I got to get back to the punching bag. This guy's. I'm getting hit left and right, man.
It's all in good fun. Flojo's the best. Throw that team back up there one more time from Hidden Puzzles, because I like. And I just want to give a little bit of love to the Jalen Waddle selection here. Like, I really think that is, I have no faith in Will Fuller, who I accidentally auto drafted in a dynasty league. And I just want to drop him. Nobody wants to trade for him. The guy's suspended and he's got hamstrings that are made of I don't know, gefilte fish. I couldn't come up with a better name off the better example off the top of my head. And then the OBJ thing, he kind of scares me, but I love the Jalen Waddle. I don't know if they're going to throw the ball enough in that offense. And I really like everything I've seen from Donovan Peoples-Jones and Higgins, and Landry's reliable, and Hooper at tight end. I just don't know if they throw the ball enough. I
mean, the guy's right, but whatever.
I wasn't going to
usually wait till about 42 minutes. Yeah,
I'm right there with
I love it, Flo.
Yes, that's right, Flojo. I'm never mind. I was going to make a dumb
People
joke.
come here for your face, not your talking, Tony.
They do. They want the dimples and the curls. You are welcome. Okay, let's get out of here. We have. I don't know if we have any more shows coming up the rest of this weekend. I forgot to take a look at the calendar.
We should have Willie's show tomorrow, right?
Yes, we do. That is correct. Ballers Report tomorrow at 3. He actually has 3 young kids that are high school top prospects for college coming on out of the state of Texas. Should be interesting sitting down with them, talking about their futures. I'm looking forward to that. And then on Monday we have the crazy 16-team fantasy league that we're doing with tight end premium scoring and 2 quarterback leagues with 6 points per passing touchdown and elevated defensive scoring. And you got to start 12 people. You got to draft a 19-man roster. It's going to be absolutely chaos. It's going to be so much fun. All 3 of the gentlemen pictured in this screen will be partaking in that on Monday at 5:00. So if you want to come in and troll our teams that we're picking, gentlemen, I suggest you mock this because it starts getting really thin around.
Brian Edwards will be starting in that league.
Yes, he will.
Yes. Right. I'm going to steal all Joe's picks.
I love that.
Put up my graphic. Here you guys go. Write these names down.
Let me write this down.
Take a screenshot. We appreciate everybody for coming in here to the Fantasy Football Speakeasy. Like we said, it's super easy. Come in. It is free. All you got to do is knock twice. For Fantasy Wishlist on IG and TikTok, like I said, making great videos for Joe Morley, host of so many shows. Welcome to the War Zone, Friday Night Wars, the Raiders Allegiance show that he does here. Tony Tucker, Nuts and Bolts, all over this network doing crazy stuff. Reach out if you want to collaborate with us or just talk sports. We want to hear your opinions here on the Warzone Sports Network. Make sure you smash the subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, all those fun places, TikTok. Until next Saturday, when we really get cooking for fantasy football. Peace out, gentlemen.
The Warzone Sports Network presents the Fantasy Football Speakeasy.